fighting off a little bit of a slump. Hey y'all, it's Nat. I hope you're having a terrific day today, and for this video we are going to be doing my October TBR. Alright, so before we get into anything bookish, make sure to hit like and subscribe down below, as well as tell me in the comments what book are you most looking forward to now that we are into spooky season. It's the best time of year, it is the best month of the year. I am so glad we are nearly there. So I am really excited going into October, and usually I partake in Becca's Spookopoly, so I don't really have much of a set TBR set out in October anyway. This year that's not taking place, but I do still think I'm gonna go in with like the lightest of TBRs. I have a lot of options set out. I have a lot of books I would love to get to, but really, this is, I don't know if I would say this is a TBR. I guess it's really more of a pile of hopefuls. I do, of course, have my obligation reads, but usually I'm always excited to get to these anyway, so it doesn't really feel like much of an obligation, and that is very much the same this month. Starting at the top with my Geek Squad book club. This is a book club hosted over on my Patreon, so if you're interested, I'll have a link to that in the description down below. We are going to be reading 𝗖cie by Rachel Harrison, which is one of my favorite authors. I feel like I've read, I think, a Rachel Harrison book every year in October for the last like 3 or 4 years now. So I'm just continuing the trend here. This worked out perfectly. Shout out to my nerds tier for voting on it. It worked out so well. This is going to be Harrison's take on a haunted house story. And if I'm being honest, it does sound kind of reminiscent to like the setup of Home Before Dark by Riley Sager or the TV adaptation of The Haunting of Hill House. But I'm really excited to see how this goes with Harrison's writing style. So we're following a young woman who actually, I think she's like a interior designer or something like that. And she had lived in a house with her mother after her parents' divorce, and her mom believed the house was haunted by a demon. She never really was sold on that. But now her mom has passed away, left her this house, and she is gonna go in, try to HGTV flip it and sell it, but along the way starts to experience some weird things and having to confront the history of what she knows about this house. I'm really intrigued. I've heard a lot of mixed things on this, but I feel like I hear a lot of mixed things on this author's work in general. I can't wait to dive into it. So I will have a spoilery reading vlog of that one if you're intrigued. Like I said, make sure to check out my Patreon down below. Join us. We would love to have you. On top of that one, I do also have my romance-based book club that I partake in every month. The prompt for this month is a romance fantasy, so you know, a romantasy, or a paranormal romance story of your choice. I do have options. Though I could absolutely look at romantasies, my fantasy shelves over here, I think I would prefer to actually stick with my romance stuff because I do have a few in here that'll also work for this. And there's one that I've really, where are you? I've really been wanting to get around to, but a few people have talked about this at book club already. So first up, I have Happy Medium by Sarah Adler, which I believe is following a woman who claims to be a medium and goes to this farm to try and, you know, pull her usual con, but turns out she actually can hear ghosts, and the ghosts are trying to encourage her to help the man who owns this farm or like runs it. A romance ensues. It sounds super cute. I've been wanting to read this one for forever. And then I also have Best Hex Ever by Nadia Alfazi. This one came out last year, and my friend Allie actually, I think somehow she ended up with 2 copies. I don't remember how, but she sent me her second one, and I think it's a second chance romance with a woman who's a chef and a witch, but unfortunately she also has a hex over her that anybody she is in a romantic relationship with ends up having bad luck. So that sounds like it's gonna be super cute and very entertaining. This author also just came out with a new paranormal romance book, and I'm really hoping I will like this one so I can check that one out. Like I said, I'm not 1000% sure where I'm going here, but these two are currently my most likely choices. Then on the opposite side, I have my fantasy book club, and this one I could definitely go for something that is a little bit too easy, but I do have a sci-fi option which may not necessarily fit for spooky season, but it would work for the prompt perfectly and help me continue a series. So the prompt is to read a book where there is a non-human main character. So my easy options would be going in like a witch direction because, I mean, technically speaking, they're not human, they're witches. It depends on how it's written. Like I said, that one feels like a stretch. I am also really considering Close and Common Orbit by Becky Chambers. This is a second in her Wayfarer series. I read the first one a few months ago for a Raid My Shelves. I'll put a link to that in the cards, but I really enjoyed it, and I've been wanting to continue on the series, and this one is following Levy, who is an AI character, and I tend to really enjoy by AI characters in sci-fi stories, so I'm really excited to continue this series and see more of her and following along with this cozy sci-fi story. Seeing as how I have been fighting off a little bit of a slump, I'm nervous to pick this because I don't know if cozy will either give me exactly what I need or if it'll just exacerbate my problem. I'm not sure. But then next up there is the Full Moon Book Club, which is hosted by Jan Agaton, and she is going to be reading The Staircase in the Woods by Chuck Wendig. Given the fact that I have this gorgeous Evernight exclusive edition version, it felt kind of like it would be a waste if I don't take this opportunity to actually get it read. I read something of Chuck Wendig's, what was it? The Book of Accidents, like 3 or 4 years ago, and I liked it okay. I felt like it was a little too long. The setup of this one, though, very much feels like a spin on It kind of thing. I hear people selling it as reminiscent of Stranger Things, but I've never actually watched Stranger Things, actually. It's following a group of friends who go to investigate a strange staircase in the woods. When they're in high school, one of them goes up the staircase and disappears, but then 20 years later, the staircase reappears, and the group is determined to see if they can find their friend. So I am intrigued by this one. I'm hoping I will like it. Book of Accidents kind of had a little bit of a sci-fi twist with the horror that I wasn't anticipating, and I'm curious if maybe this will do the same thing, and I would like to see more sci-fi horror. So like I said, I'm very intrigued, and I want to do my best to actually get this one read this month. Next up is actually a little bit of a sneak peek into my TBR of Wicked Readings or Bingo for 2025. That should be coming out next. So one of the prompts is to read a book that is published in 2025. Hard mode is to read it before the end of 2025, and so I am shooting for Killer on the Road by Stephen Graham Jones, which is actually the second book in this bind-up edition that I have with Babysitter Lives, which would also officially remove this from my TBR and onto my own shelves. But this one, I believe, is following a young woman that is like on the road with her best friends. Yep, her little sister, her ex-boyfriend, and turns out she is being stalked by a serial perpetrator, which Josh has started into this one and told me he is so creepy. It makes me even more excited to actually get to this. Here's hoping I will get this one read so I can mark off hard mode on that prompt. Then I would love to finally get read and knocked off from my 10 books for 2025, Mary by Nat Cassidy. I can't believe I still haven't read this. I really need to. I feel like I've talked about it a million times. And one of these days I will actually have a review to say I've read it. But it is a Carrie retelling following a woman who is actually entering into menopause. I've heard so many good things. Sounds amazing. I want to read this author's work in general. I just need to pick it up. And then finally, I actually forgot about this one for my obligation reads earlier, but I am doing my best to continue reading a nonfiction book a month. I have 2 that I'm currently looking at. Technically, in the order I've been going, my next would be Disfigured by Amanda Leduc, which is talking about fairy tales, disability, and making space. I've heard good things about this one. It sounds really interesting, right up my alley when it comes to this sort of media analysis. But then on the other side, I am eyeing The League of Lady Poisoners, illustrated and written by Lisa Perrin, because this just seems very apt for this time of year, and it is also beautiful. Here's just a random piece of artwork I flipped to. So I really do want to get this one read eventually soon as well. Chances are I will probably read one of these. It'll kind of just depend what mood I'm in. Okay, and on that note, I think that is officially it for today, y'all. So thank you so much for coming to my channel. I really appreciate it. Make sure to hit like and subscribe down below. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, let's go ahead and leave. Let's do the skull emoji in the comments down below. I have links to all of my socials as well as a few ways you can support me down in the description. I come out videos on Monday and Friday, but until then, I hope you continue to have a terrific day. Love you, bye!